Welcome to the Austin Luxury Connection podcast. I'm your host, Will Kerwin, and today our guest is Shona Muccini from Muccini Design. Shona, you're an interior designer here in Austin. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a bit about your business.
Yeah, hey Will, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here chatting with you.
Such a pleasure.
I love interior design, always happy to talk about that. At Muccini Design, we strive to really bring your dreams to life with your home. We value partnerships and relationships and really listening to what our clients are looking for. I really think that my job isn't done unless I've pushed my clients to their limits. So my job as the designer is to really show them what they can do with their space and probably help them think outside of the box.
Oh, that's amazing. So what got you into interior design? It's a profession a lot of people spend years getting into. It's obviously something that a lot of people have a lot of passion around. What specifically brought you into interior design?
I've had a journey coming to interior design. I will say that I was in a corporate environment for many, many years. I found myself at a position where I was really burned out and probably not as happy as I thought I wanted to be and really doing what I was passionate about. And I just took a look at what are my goals, what am I passionate about, what really drives me, what makes me happy, and that's interior design.
What is it about interior design that really just drives you? What is it that gets you the fulfillment that you seek?
So I'll tell you a small story. When I was very little, I think my design intentions started when I was probably about 6 years old. And I had built-in shelving that my granddad had built for me. And I would lay in bed with all of my little trinkets laid out on the shelves and look at them and imagine how I could redesign them and how I could organize them. Maybe it was a little bit of an obsession, but I think that's really where it started. And then flash forward, I think what I really value and enjoy is being able to walk into a room and not being judgmental or thinking that maybe it's not up to par, but really walking in and envisioning what it could be. And looking at the bones of a structure and thinking about how you can reimagine it. And I literally see wallpaper pop up on a wall, different colors, what style, what furniture. I really love art history and the history of interior design, going all the way back, Greek and Romans, and I love that whole idea about what design conveys.
Tell me a bit more about your design influences and inspirations. You said a lot of the Greek and Romans. Where do you draw most of your inspiration from?
I think my inspiration for me personally comes from things that I love. So I have people ask me all the time, should I put this type of couch with this type of chair? Does this type of coffee table match with this sofa? And my answer always is, it's whatever you like, it's your home. And if you love it, I will help you put it together and make it look beautiful.
Oh, so often we see interior designers that want to make it so it's just their vision that happens inside somebody's home. With that approach, how do you see that impacting your clients? How does it work when they feel like they have that stake in it and they know they have that voice in the process?
Well, I think you said the key word, Will, relationship. And I am going into people's homes in their most private, personal space, and it is all about the relationship, that they trust that I'm listening to them, and they trust that I am going to provide their vision for them. And by doing that, it's really important, and sometimes maybe a little challenging, to put your own preferences aside. So when I go into a home of one of my clients, it's not my taste or my design that I'm doing for myself, it's for them. And it is what they are looking for, but it's elevated and it's put together. It has a professional eye on it, but it's exactly what they love. If they don't love it, then I have not done my job.
Yeah, we always talk about luxury being that elevated experience with that customization. How do you feel that you best deliver that elevated experience to your clients?
That's a great question, and I'm also asked that a lot as well. So an elevated luxury experience really isn't about the price tag. Elevated and luxury is many things, but it's really how everything goes together. When you have a cohesive look and it flows, that speaks to luxury. It looks like it goes together. You haven't just purchased individual pieces and put them together. It had a thought behind it, and it has obvious love and time that was put into it. And that conveys when you have a room that's been professionally designed. You can tell that there was thought and love put behind it, and that really elevates it. The other thing that elevates materials in a design is quality products. And we can all get quality things that don't necessarily have to break the bank and be a high budget, high ticket item, but it's about the quality. And it's how you mix those qualities and finishes together that give that cohesive, elevated look.
Yeah. And the whole process can feel overwhelming. What do you typically say to your clients when you're working with them at the start of the project? Whether it's we want to do the whole house that we just bought out in Westlake, or we want to start with just this one room. How does that discussion typically go for you?
I will say, Will, that usually people don't call me unless they're overwhelmed. So I'm very accustomed to that. And I always say right off the bat, that's why designers exist. We do this all day, every day. And what overwhelms someone is a passion for me. Digging through books of fabric and wallpaper.
Yeah, you brought a ton with you here.
I did, and this is a tiny, tiny sampling. But that's my passion. I love doing that. So someone else is good at something else, but maybe they don't want to dig through the fabric. So clients are usually overwhelmed when they contact me, and my philosophy is I will gladly do your entire home, and we can sit down and look at that process. Or we can take it one room at a time, and we can sit down and talk about your budget. Do you want to go one room at a time and take several months to roll something out? That's always an option.
Yep. When you do that one room at a time, what's typically your favorite room to start with in a house?
I think the living room is probably the best room to start with. I think or the room where my clients entertain, where their family is. That's where you spend the majority of your time. That's where you invite people over, where you're sitting as a family, and you really want that room to be comfortable and really have your aesthetic. You really want to look around while you're there and feel like it's home.
Yeah, I've seen so many houses where it's like interior designer comes in and they see, oh, you've got all the autographed memorabilia all over the place. They cringe, but it's what that person likes and when they entertain. How do you take situations like that and turn it into that better overall experience, that better design? You know,
Right.
I mean, we all know that there's the whole thing on the internet just talking about what a single guy's house is always going to look like. And
hey, we can work with single guys all the time, make their homes beautiful. So, the memorabilia all over the wall, so that's my job. They love that. They want to incorporate that. And that becomes a focal point. So if that is really something that the client loves, they obviously have it displayed, that becomes a focal point, and then you can work your design around that. And that really gives, again, a cohesive look, because you don't have just something on the wall that doesn't really flow with the rest of the house, but the client is always happy because it's front and center in their design.
yeah, I think one of the pieces of advice I always got told was do the bright colors as the accents to things, and then do the neutral colors, the walls and the cabinets. Is that advice still true, or what would be your dissenting opinion around that?
My overall opinion is it can be whatever you want it to be. Literally, if you love having yellow cabinets and a green wall and it's bright green, then my job is to make that look good. Is it my favorite? No, I wouldn't do that in my home. But we all have our own opinions and our own ideas. So I think that rules in design are very much like rules in fashion. You can really wear, as long as it looks good, you can wear whatever you want. You need to wear clothes that fit your body, and you need a home interior that fits your style and your lifestyle.
Yeah, it's like they say, rule number 1, be attractive. Rule number 2, don't be unattractive.
I like that.
How do you guide clients who might be unsure about what their style is? That's always the biggest problem, is finding somebody that doesn't quite know what they want, but they have this one thing that they like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do you guide them through this? I know it's probably like one of the banes for every interior designer to have every house look exactly the same because they've done it over and over again. It's just like sleepwalking through it.
Definitely not sleepwalking. It's all custom and personalized. I think really helping clients decide what they like. So one thing that's really helpful for me is to look in their home and ask them what pieces they love, as well as which pieces do you not like and why. And once I identify what they have that they really love, then we can start working through that. Not everyone understands that there's mid-century modern and a classical style or a traditional style. Not everyone understands exactly what those all entail, and they don't really need to worry about it. That's what we're here for. That's what I do. And so I think really rather than trying to pin down a style, because I've had people ask me like, what is my design style? What is this? Well, it kind of leans this way or it leans that way, but really it's what you like and what you love. Again, I've said that many times, but to me that's the most important thing, is taking what you like and what you love and then making you love it even more.
Yeah, I've always found where you can tell a lot about the person by what the furniture store that they shop at is. That's always been like my favorite thing to find out about a person, is like, oh, do you like shopping at IKEA? And it's like, no, because that's going to cause a fight. And you learn all these things, and every different furniture brand kind of has their own unique style that kind of plays into it. Given all of the different furniture stores, how often do you use that when you're trying to get out from people what their particular style that they're interested in is going to be?
Yeah, definitely. One of the biggest things is to go, when I do a complimentary consultation, I do a tour of the home. And that's where I ask a lot of questions, and I ask, what do you love? What do you not like as much? And then I ask, where do you typically shop? What's your favorite color? There's a whole host of questions that I ask to understand what that is. But in terms of like their style, I bring products to my clients. All of my samples, I put together renderings and drawings of actual products. And what I usually do is provide maybe 3 or 4 different options to try to narrow it down, because it really is so many vast options that it does actually become overwhelming. And again, my job is to narrow that down and present kind of the top 3 or 4 options that they might be interested in. And so that kind of helps me, and I'll have different styles for each option. And depending on, how they feel about each design, that'll lead me in the right direction.
So these renderings, are they just you take pictures of the room and replace the furniture, or tell me more about this. I want to hear more about this.
Sure, absolutely. So I use several different softwares for design and rendering. So I use AutoCAD, SketchUp I use, Revit I use, and then Photoshop, of course, to do some renderings as well. So when I'm at a client's home and they want to start on a room, I take full measurements, and so I can input that into my software. I can also use the photographs that I take, and I can add in the furniture that I am envisioning for them, and then I can show that to them in their own space. And clients love to see that. So it's their own room with 3 or 4 different options of different styles of sofas. And that's really helpful for all of us. It gives them a real feel for what it will look like, but it helps me to understand what style they like, again, and what direction they want to go. And then I can help build more off of that.
Yeah, and it's always nice when you envision what the floor plan's going to look like, too. You don't want to have that 10-foot long dining table in a 12-foot space where there's no room for the buffet or room for anyone to sit or get by.
Absolutely. And I will say that's one of the number one things that I see from people that go and buy their own products from multiple different locations. Yeah. They get it home, and on the showroom floor it looked perfect, but your dining room is not the same size as the showroom. And when you get it home, it's not quite exactly right. The colors don't match quite as much as you thought it was going to. And so again, that's another benefit of working with a professional that goes and finds all of that for you and ensures that it's a fit and that it all goes together.
Yeah, and that's a big part of what you do, right? You'll go and buy the entire room of furniture, as part of the process and make sure everything's delivered, right? Tell me a bit about that.
Exactly. I am a white glove service. So I am with our clients from the very first complimentary consultation all the way to delivery and install. So not only am I an interior designer, I'm also a project manager. I have my relationships with our furniture manufacturers. The majority of them are based out of North Carolina here in the US. And I manage all of the deliveries, all of the shipments. Everything is delivered to a receiving location, and I house everything until the last piece has arrived. I offer a white glove service from the first complimentary consultation to the delivery of all of the products. So I manage that with all of my vendors. They're all delivered into a warehouse where they are received and they are inspected and securely stored. And when the last item arrives, they are all delivered with a white glove service. I bring in all of the electricians. If you're doing window treatments, I bring in the drapery hangers, wallpaper hanger, all of the furniture, carpeting, all of that is brought in all on the same day. So another thing that's really fun that we do is we can do an install day, and I have clients that like to leave, and we come in and put everything in and install it. We hang all the artwork. It's 100% turnkey, and when they come back, they have a whole new room.
Oh man, the devil on my shoulder is just thinking about how great it would be to do that without somebody knowing that it was going to be happening.
Right. Exactly. We can certainly do that. We can do a surprise.
Just show up and be like, I think I'm in the wrong house.
What's happened? What's happened? So we can do that, or of course clients are welcome to stay and watch the process as well.
What's the one piece of advice that you would give to anybody that's going through this process with that whole design day and everything just happening all at one time? That can be pretty overwhelming for a lot of people. A lot of people like what they're familiar with, and so it's just like literally changing everything about their most intimate space. So what tips would you have for people about that?
Go get a massage. Or better yet, I can have a massage therapist come to you, and you can be in another area of the home while we are making everything become beautiful.
Now see, that's white glove service.
Exactly.
I couldn't ask for anything better. Let's talk about your clients. Can you share like one of your favorite success stories from working with one of your clients? How did that process look? Where were they when they came to you, and where did they end up? I'd like to hear that whole story from start to finish.
Sure, yeah. I have a client in mind. She is very busy with her job. She is one of those clients that I talked about that is not interested in digging through fabric, says that she doesn't really have an eye for it, which is totally fine. She really valued an interior designer, I think, and she also really valued the process that we don't go out shopping, I don't drag you around to stores and look at furniture, I bring everything to you. And she loved that, and she was very appreciative of that. She had some ideas that she was interested in, but she really wanted to do an overhaul. She was living in an older home that was built in the 50s that they had remodeled, and she really wanted to bring it more modern with the furniture. And I think for me, it's always great to have someone that really values an interior designer and what you can bring.
Yeah. So what was it about your approach that really made the biggest difference versus other interior designers? And how did she eventually respond to that completed space?
So I think the approach of bringing all of the samples directly to her and not dragging her around. And in fact, she had said, what stores do we need to go to? None. We're not going to any stores. And she loved that. She was very happy about that. And once the project was completed, she loved it. She couldn't believe it. She was very excited. I had probably 5 or 6 different people in her home doing the full install. And she was on site, but she was not necessarily present. She was working on some other things at the time. And so when she came out, she loved it. And I think another thing that's very important, there were no surprises. So there was nothing that I did that she had not seen, a rendering of in her actual space. And one of the comments that she made was, this is exactly what I thought you were doing. And that seems common or seems obvious, But I think sometimes there's a fear that, did they actually order what I thought we were going to get? And is this going to look the way I think it's going to look? And when we make a design and settle on a design, that's the design that you get.
Yeah, and I think so much of it, especially when it comes to customer satisfaction, is just solving that problem between what they think you're supposed to do and what you actually do. Because it's so tough when people don't understand like what we actually do in our given jobs, especially as I've talked to so many people here. It's like finding out what actually goes on and how it's so different from what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of these great things. What would you say is like one of these misconceptions about what people think that you do that you don't actually do?
Right. Well, there's a lot of things. You're bringing up a good point. I think there are some misconceptions in this industry. I think one of them, first off, I said earlier, is that I take them to stores and we go around and shop for furniture, and that I'm buying furniture and products from them in a store that they could just go and buy it themselves.
Right.
So that definitely is not the case. So there are there are accounts that we have. There are to the trade accounts that we have that allow us to have access to furniture and products that individual customers could not get on their own. So that's one. I think the other one is just the idea that we really are, in my business, and I know there are other designers that work differently, but I do not charge an hourly rate. So I don't have an hourly fee. It's not necessarily something that I'm doing, scratch that, I don't want to talk about the hourly rate.
No.
I think one of the misconceptions is not really understanding that we're a project manager, especially with my business offering that white glove service. We may be ordering product from 5 or 6 different manufacturers, having all different lead times, all different delivery schedules. And in order to make that wow experience and have an install day, it requires meticulous management of the schedule, the vendor relationships, and making sure that everything has arrived and that there is no damage and that everything is ready to go, and coordinating that one day.
Yeah. With that one day in coordination, what would be the best thing one of your clients could do to make sure that they have a successful install day or a successful entire project with you? You know, what are these things that people don't typically realize? It makes life so much easier to do, and it doesn't really create any other problems for them by doing it.
I think, so there's a couple of things that make it easier for me when I do a project. So one of them is, and I always ask my clients this, so once we decide on a design and we are ready to start ordering product, stop shopping. That is the number one rule. Please stop shopping. So the design that I have created is based on the few pieces that they want to use in their own home and all of the pieces that I have brought into the design. And one new piece of artwork or one new piece of anything really throws that off. So sometimes people are like, wait, what? I don't have to shop anymore? I don't have to worry about this? No, it's done. You don't have to worry about it at all. That is definitely something that makes life easier.
Yeah, I think I got told one time when it's like, when you make the decision to hire somebody, don't offer to help.
Yeah.
That's where the best situation comes from. It's like, they're doing it. They've spent more time doing it. Just don't help.
That's right. That's exactly right. And the other thing that really makes it easier for us when we do an install day is just sit back and relax and just wait for the big reveal. You know, if you want to go have lunch with your girlfriends, even better. And like I said, we'll have it available and ready to go when you get home, or we'll get you that massage.
Changing gears for just a minute, I want to talk about trends in design. What are you seeing right now as one of the new and upcoming trends around design that isn't necessarily going to be something that's going to be incredibly timeless?
That's a good question. I actually love design that really does become timeless. But I think, so Pantone just announced the 2025 color of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it maybe shocked a few of us, Mocha Mousse, which is a color that looks exactly like you would think it is. When you think about it, we were just coming out of that beachy, beach house kind of natural wood, natural vibe. And I think incorporating a little bit of a darker color with the mocha mousse, I think that's going to allow customers to keep some of the design elements that they have, but then freshen it up a little bit and maybe pull off a little bit from that supernatural look.
Right. It's interesting. What's your opinion? Do you like the mocha mousse, or do you think you're gonna wait to see what comes out next year before you really make any judgments?
So I think the color of the year is mocha mousse, and I do like that color. I was a little surprised, but I think we're continuing with that earth kind of feel.
Okay.
Last year we had the greens, we had a darker brown before that, we had some burgundy tones. So I think I do appreciate that the colors are flowing into each other, and that if you've gone all in on a design trend, you can still incorporate bits and pieces of the new color, and you will still have an on-trend space without having to redo everything.
So, you put a ton of thought into this. How do you keep up with all of this? What do you typically read? Where do you keep up with all of this? And how do you make sure that you're always keeping up to date with all these trends for your clients?
I really work hard to keep up with the trends. As you can imagine, it changes a lot often. I read all the trade magazines, interior design magazines. I'm constantly on all of my vendor websites. They do a great job of keeping up with all of their new introductions. Interior design and fabric follows very closely behind the fashion industry, which I am also a huge fan of, and I love fashion as well. And so at the same time, I'm keeping up with fashion, and usually we will see that the interior design trends follow that just a little bit later. So things are usually set by the fashion industry, and interior design soon follows. And I love all things fashion and design.
Such a great combination. Well, as we're starting to wrap up here, are you ready for our lightning round?
I think I'm ready.
Awesome, great. Bring your strong opinions here.
Okay, all right.
So,
let me get ready.
Just off the top of your head, don't need any like long responses. You can even say, I'll take no follow-up questions on any of these. So, what's your favorite design style or element?
My favorite design style and element is a modern feel that has a little bit of a natural vibe to it.
Awesome. What is the most rewarding part of seeing a design project complete?
Seeing the smile and happiness on my client's face.
What's one thing that every luxury home should have in it?
Artwork.
What is the biggest misconception about working with an interior designer?
That they will take your own... The biggest conception about working with an interior designer is that you can't afford it.
Awesome.
Because you can.
That's so good to know. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Shona. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you a bit better, getting to know more about your business. Can't wait to see more of your work, more of your projects. Where can people go to see all of your portfolio and see more information, and how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you, Will. Thanks for having me. This has been awesome. So my website is smuccini at decoratingden.com, all one word, or you can search up my name, Shona Muccini, and find me as well online.
Awesome.
Thanks, Will. This has been so much fun.
Thank you, Shona. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.